Chat, chat, chat. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Good evening, greenhorns, and welcome to the Road to Wrestling School. The HOV to the HOP. Well, normally it would be an HOV, but once again, I'm left alone. I am Grizzly Joe Grasso, also known as the Grizzly Duncan McBain. Normally with me is hashtag Hamish Stewart, but he's powdered out again on a Monday night as I make my way to beautiful downtown Hagerstown, Maryland, to the Neil Superior House of Pain Professional Wrestling Training Center. But I'm doing it alone. And I record this for you, our fans, the Greenhorns. God bless you all for listening. The fives of you. Hi, Mom. Thanks for listening to my podcast. I'm just kidding. My mother doesn't listen to my podcast. Oh, that's good. Well, normally we'd start with a fitness talk from hashtag Hamish, but God damn it, there ain't no fitness talk because I ain't done no fitness. That's right. The Grizzter's been real lazy this week, but things are going crazy in my life, you know, looking at buying houses, going to have another baby, another cub. It's going to be a girl, for anyone who cares. So here we are, on the road to beautiful Hagerstown, Maryland. And let me tell you a little about the Grizz. Let me tell you why I want to professional wrestle, why I want to do that. I'm just kidding, Greenhorns. I think we've done 6 shows at this point about why we want to be professional wrestlers. I think y'all pretty much know why we want to do this and why we're out of our minds for doing this. So, you know, we'll skip that topic for tonight. Let me tell you a little more about myself, though. You know, I used to backyard wrestle. You know, I did those days. I talked about that last time. And, you know, I trained back in 2007. That's when I started my training at the House of Pain, Neil Superior Professional Wrestling Training Center. But then I bowed out. It was too much, man. You know, I was working as a puppeteer at the time for Blue Sky Puppets. And puppeteer money doesn't really allow one to drive for an hour and a half, 3-hour round trip to train. It just doesn't work out that way. And then paying your ring dues on top of that. I just couldn't afford it, Greenhorns. And, you know, my life was real hectic back then, being a puppeteer, a professional puppeteer. As you all know, being a professional puppeteer makes one's life quite hectic. I used to travel up and down the East Coast doing puppet shows for children, because who else is going to pay to see puppet shows, really? The parents of the children are going to pay to see them puppet shows. You know, if I could go on a little mind trip here, and I think it's by myself, so I think I'm going to have that freedom. I think a professional wrestling puppet show would do really well. I don't know how you'd do it, because if you did it with marionettes, the strings would get all tangled, and if you did it with hand puppets, well, it would get kind of ridiculous really fast, but maybe that's the fun of it. Just professional wrestling puppets. That'll be my next project, professional wrestling puppet show. That'll take the place of Renaissance Rumble, our Shakespeare-themed professional wrestling-inspired stunt show, playing at various Renaissance festivals, and by various I mean one, the Maryland Renaissance Festival. But back to my life. You know, let me take you way back. Let me take you farther back. Back before high school, before I was a backyard wrestler, when I was just a little grizzly bear. You know, I have a father. I think most of us have fathers. You know, my father is Jimmy the Mover Grasso. That's his name. That's not his legal name, but it might as well be. See, he's got a business moving vending machines, and he's known as Jimmy the Mover. He is short, and I mean short. You know, I'm 5'8", and I tower over him. He is a short, fiery little man. If there was ever a physical embodiment of Super Mario, it would be my father. And anyone who has ever met him can attest to that because, as I said, he's short. And he's got a handlebar mustache. I shit you not, Greenhorns, a handlebar mustache that he decided to grow his own. You know, he's had a mustache since I've known him. Occasionally he would grow a beard, but he would always shave it down to the mustache. And since he was like a teenager in the 70s, he can get away with growing a really nice mustache. And then he turned it into a handlebar mustache. And because he moves vending machines for a living, that's his business, Jimmy the Mover. He moves vending machines. He's not moving houses. He's moving big-ass soda and snack machines and pool tables. So this man has forearms that look like Popeye. That's my father. He doesn't sleep. There's no other way to put it. The man does not sleep. He passes out when he can. He has never drunk coffee, to my understanding, but he never stops moving. As I said, the physical embodiment of Super Mario in every way, shape, or form. That's my father. I look at him and I think, God, why weren't you a professional wrestler? Why the hell didn't you do it? He's got the personality. He's got the outgoing attitude. But he never did it. It just never came up. And that's funny because he was a wrestler in high school. He was a championship wrestler in high school. And at his rival high school, he went to Delsea High School in New Jersey. And a little factoid for you there. His rival high school, I don't remember the name of it, but in New Jersey, his rival high school, you know who wrestled for that rival high school? King Kong Bundy. King Kong fucking Bundy wrestled at my dad's rival high school. There was never a chance that they were going to wrestle. I think King Kong Bundy went to school maybe 5 years before my dad, and it may surprise you to know that King Kong Bundy was in the super heavyweight class even back then. But my father was fighting at, I think, a lean $125. So there was no chance of them ever wrestling together. But I look at my father and I think, why the hell aren't you a wrestler? And at this point in his life, he's 60 years old now. Why aren't you my manager? I really should bring my father in and be my goddamn manager. But he'd be so much more over than me. I don't know if I could do that. I like to think I'm pretty good on the stick, but he would be a nonstop flurry of catchphrases and attitude and energy that I couldn't match. Swig of Diet Mountain Dew for the working man, my father, who is probably still guaranteed still working now. He often works until midnight just because he loves to work. But that's a little trip down Grizzly memory lane for you there. That's my father, Jimmy the Mover Grasso. As you can tell, he is Sicilian, and goddammit, he acts like it. Whew, he should have been my manager when I was the Paisan of Pain. But I didn't stick around with it long enough. And now I'm the Grizzly Duncan McBain, so maybe it doesn't make as much sense. I'll get him out here. It'll be a good time. Well, here I am driving on the road. It's dark as hell because, daylight saving time is over. And now nobody can see me recording on this damn thing by myself, in a car by myself. But let's get back to wrestling. Enough of this wasting time. So, a wrestling school, I think we talked about this way early on, but I'll let you know again. A wrestling school works a lot like a martial arts school, if any of you have taken martial arts. And if you haven't, this is all new to you. So, at the top, the tip top of the pyramid, that's your trainer. That's John Rambo. John Rambo's our trainer. When when someone asks who trained you, it's John Rambo. Now, underneath John Rambo, you got your senior students and your certified wrestlers who are still training at the school. Certified wrestlers above the senior students, obviously. These are your people who are taking the place of Rambo when he's not there. When I say he's not there, it's not that he wasn't there to begin with. An evening's going to start. Rambo's going to be there. He's going to tell you what you're going to work on, and he's going to show you something. He's your trainer. Now, he's going to say to Wildman Robbie Page, why don't you take Grizzly through the headlock takedown, get it again spot. He's going to work on that tonight. And then Robbie will take me and he'll train me all night. And it trickles down that way. Your mid-grade students, your senior students, down to your just starting out trainees who are working on the 3 holds and locking up and just basic stuff, hitting the ropes, bumps. Here's the thing. There are times when there are more trainees. So, hashtag Hamish and I, we've been training here again for about a year now. And we trained before, so we always came in a bit higher than your usual greenhorn. But now we're about mid-grade. Now, I say we're about mid-grade trainees in this next time around. Maybe a little higher than that, but I'm gonna stay humble on that. We're about mid-grade. Maybe close to certification, but maybe not. Probably not. And that's okay. I'm not here. It's not a race. It's about the journey on this one. But my point is, right now we have more trainees, and we're going Monday nights. So we got more trainees than we do the upper wrestlers. So most of our night is going to be spent working these new trainees and getting them up to speed. Now, if you're going to be selfish about it, you can be like, well, goddamn, I want to learn some new stuff. I'm the mid-grade trainee. I'm the mid-grade wrestler here. I should be working on stuff that I want to work on, not training these damn greenhorns. Well, that's a stupid attitude to take, hypothetical wrestler dude. Because one thing you learn when doing things physically, really in all things, but especially in physical things I found with sports and with martial arts and with stage combat, when you teach someone to do something, you learn it better than learning new stuff. It's when you are able to teach it to someone else, to someone brand new, that you comprehend the material more. And you understand it better, and it fills your body more. And you notice, this is a big one that people have to watch out for, because when you start getting higher up in your training, you start getting cocky. You don't think you can make mistakes. Trust me, brother, you can make mistakes. And you will see your mistakes in your, I hesitate to use the word, your trainees. They're not really your trainees. They're John Rambo's trainees. You're just assisting in the training. But if you show someone how to lock up, or you show someone how to reverse a hammerlock, and you see them making a mistake that you do, because you'll see your mistakes in your trainees. That's my point. You'll see the mistakes that you make, and you'll be able to correct them, and by proxy, correct yourself. So you'll see, that's what I look like when I do that? Well, shit, man, I got to fix that. If I want to train somebody, if I want to teach someone how to do this or help someone learn how to do this, I got to do it perfectly. You got to do it just right. I mean, that's why we do these things 1,000 freaking times, so we look good doing it, and so we can pass it on. Because we should always be able to pass down knowledge. I mean, look, when you're learning anything, as soon as you're able to teach it to someone, this does not mean you've mastered it. That's just a different kind of student. A teacher is just a different kind of student. Because you're learning just as much as the students are learning. You're just learning something differently. You're still learning that top wrist lock. But you're learning it at a different pace and a different way than the trainee is learning. So that's my point. Don't balk at, you're not getting the ring time you quote-unquote want, or you're not doing the spots you want, or you're not running matches. You'll get your chance to run matches. Don't worry about it. Look, it's an honor to be considered proficient enough for John Rambo to be like, hey, work with this trainee, show him how to lock up. That's a privilege. That's Rambo saying, hey, I trust you. That's your trainer saying, I trust you as a performer, as a wrestler, to be able to show this greenhorn the ropes. And that's a huge responsibility. He trusts you. And that being said, it's your responsibility to make sure you don't teach this damn trainee the wrong thing. And, you got to have a patient hand. That's the big goddamn thing, man. Hats off. I've been trained by... I'm not trained. I've been... some people have assisted me in my training. Some great people. But specifically, I got to give my hats off. Excuse me for that. When you talk nonstop, greenhorns, you tend to forget to swallow. Excuse me, a little swig of Diet Mountain Dew for hashtag Hamish, who can't be here for whatever fucking reason. That's the caffeine I need to work. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, a patient hand. So hats off to Wildman Robbie Page and Tremor. Both of those guys. Now, a lot of people at the House of Pain have assisted me. L.A. Star, R.L. Smith, Cocky Rocky Nicola, Chris Klein. These are people, they're doing a great job, and what they've showed me is awesome. But I got to give my hats off to Wildman Robbie Page and Tremor because they're always patient and they're always giving, and they're always giving good notes. So I just wanted to give a hats off to them. I know you may not know them, but I urge you to look them up and look up their matches because they're great wrestlers and they're great people. But my point is you got to have that patient hand because, especially with physical things, I teach stage combat. And oftentimes I'll end up working with children or I'll work with people who have never picked up a sword before. And by God, you got to be patient, man, because, you might have, a year, 2 years in the ring, but a person who's never stepped into a wrestling ring, they're not going to know how to do things. So you got to take your time with them. You got to be patient. You have to allow them to fail. And that's I've told all you greenhorns this too. You got to allow yourself to fail. And that's the first thing I'll tell a trainee. You got to get all the crap out before you can get to the good stuff. So you got to do it 1,000 times really horribly before you can get 1,000 times really good. I mean, that's just how it works. That's practice, So take it easy on yourself and take it easy on your Well, you don't want to take it easy on your trainees because you want to work them. You don't want people coming in thinking this business is easy because, God, it's not. But it's also not like the old days. You hear stories of how Hulk Hogan came into the business when he first trained. His first day of training, they broke both his legs. That's the story he tells anyway, but I've heard other horror stories of back in the day, people coming into the business, back when kayfabe was running strong, and they're scaring people off. I mean, that's what some training places still do today. They'll work you the first week or the first month just to get you to quit, just to see if you'll quit. Because they don't want to waste their time if you're going to come in for a day and then leave. I get that mentality, but I'm of the mindset that I want to share my business. I want to share my art, my performance with new people who are interested. I don't want to scare them away. Look, not everyone's going to pick this up the first night. I argue that most people won't pick this up the first night. Your first bump is not going to be good. Hell, your first 100 bumps aren't going to be good. Shit, I still bump poorly, and I've bumped probably thousands of times at this point. It takes years and years just to master the goddamn back bump. How the hell are you going to come into training and be a master wrestler your first night? No. So you got to be patient. You got to work them through it. You got to let them know, hey, it's going to suck. It's going to suck for a while. It's going to fucking hurt. But if you stick with it and you love this business, it's going to pay off so well. Your body will get used to those bumps. Your body will eventually do the right thing if you keep training it to do the right thing. And you'll do it without even thinking about it. And hell, you'll get your cardio up so good just working in that ring that it'll take you 20-minute Broadway to even break a sweat. That'll never happen with me. I'll break a sweat in the first 5 minutes. Thank you very much. But, hey, that's just Grizzly here. But you got to be patient with your trainees, man. And the trainees got to be kind to themselves. Now, we're working with some new trainees tonight. John Rambo really generously gave a year of free training to 2 military veterans, which is really, really nice of him. I mean, that's a hell of a gift. And he's always running great deals. So if you're, in the area around Hagerstown, Maryland, you come out to the House of Pain. John Rambo's going to take care of you. And you're going to learn from someone who's, over 30 years in the business, trained by Alpha the Wild Samoan and Rocky Johnson. He's got some skill. So by all means, train there. But see how generous he is. And so we got some new trainees. They worked last week. And I think they worked Thursday as well. We didn't go out Thursday. But they're picking things up really well because, military guys, they're trained to use their bodies. And they're younger, Most people who go in the military generally start out pretty young. I would hope so. But these guys, they understand how their body works, so they're able to pick up on locking up really quickly. They were able to pick up on the moves a little quicker. So that's really refreshing. Because oftentimes you'll get a trainee who has never done anything physical before, which can happen. I mean, look, if you're a fan of wrestling, you don't have to be physical. Just the same way if you're a fan of football, you don't have to know how to play football really well. You can just be a fan. But getting in that ring is a whole different story. I was always physical. I was always a big kid, but I always played sports. I always lifted weights, even as young as my early high school days, just because my brother was a bodybuilder. That's another story for another time. I should have got into him. My brother, Anthony, who is a professional, was a professional bodybuilder. He and his wife, mind you, professional bodybuilders who, almost 0% body fat, muscle, pow. And he was a goddamn champion wrestler in high school. Like, God damn it, we could have been a tag team, bro. All right, that's enough. Enough of that. Enough of the Grasso family. My point is, we should have been a wrestling dynasty. That's all I'm going to say. I've got 2 sons now and a daughter on the way, so I'll start my own wrestling dynasty. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, hell, I can't remember what I was talking about. I'm sure it was some old bullshit. Well, I hate to powder out so early, but, I'm in beautiful downtown Hagerstown, Maryland, and almost at the House of Pain. So I'm going to tap out just a little early, and hopefully I'll give you more next time because I'll have hashtag Hamish Stewart, God willing, and we'll be able to talk about something a little more interesting. So remember, rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. That's how we get more subscribers. That's how we might get some sponsors here on the show. You can find us at RenaissanceRumble.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Road to Wrestling School. I think it's Road to Wrestling School. If you have any questions, maybe you want to sponsor our show, you can reach us at RoadToWrestlingSchool@gmail.com. Drop a line. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know if you like the show or maybe you hate the show. I'd love to hear that too. And I'll do a shoot interview on you. If you send me an email that says you hate the show, I'll do a shoot interview on you. Here, how's about that for you? Well, I'm tapping out, so keep the faith, Greenhorns. I'm Grizzly Joe Grasso, also known as the Grizzly Duncan McBain. Hey, keep the faith. I'll see you down the road and in the ring.
That ending sounds good. I like that.